Our podcast is a part of the World Podcast Network, now with over 1,000 podcasts. Visit the World Podcast Network at worldpodcast.network to listen to podcasts in over 12 genres. Come vote our podcast episodes up and help us rise on the leaderboard. If you have a podcast of your own, you can join for free. Welcome to Reality Tea Times 2, the podcast where we discuss all the trash reality TV we love to hate. I am Tanika, and today we are going to be doing the first part of the Last Resort Tell-All. Before we do, let's just do quick announcement and we'll get into the hot goss. So, yep, quick announcement. Patreon. So, of course, with Patreon, again, link will be in the show notes, but you can, I think you just go to patreon.com/reality times two. And then, there's 3 different tiers. First tier offers, AMAs ad free as well once we kind of get some people on there. And second tier has the classic stuff alongside with everything else, which includes right now we're doing Jersey Shore, but also there'll be future ones and coming up after that. And then the third tier is true crime documentaries. We've done so far done Ashley Madison, Man with 1,000 Kids. Into the Fires is this month, and we have so many more going. We have already docs teed up for up until September. So come on over there and join the fun. So that's the announcement. So let's get into some hot goss. So first piece, this is Love is Blind related. This is with respect to the reunion, and kind of what was said about Jimmy. So Jimmy is now speaking out, or he did about a day after the reunion, actually, to provide some clarity about his involvement with Ben and Sarah. And Jimmy said he was connected to Ben in May of 2024 after Ben finished filming, which Jimmy noted is, quote, pretty standard protocol. He was put in touch with people from past seasons during his run on the hit series. Quote, it's solely to help them navigate that period of time where you probably have a ton of anxiety waiting for your season to air to see how you'll be portrayed. The Season 5 alum admitted that he feels slighted, but he's being pointed out for giving bad advice. Jimmy stressed that he was just a sounding board for Ben. Jimmy went on to say that Ben was very anxious about the reunion. The advice I gave was pretty simple. Like, yeah, just enjoy the moment, enjoy the ride, and don't sweat it until that time comes. Despite getting caught up in the drama, he's got no bad blood against Sarah and Ben. He continued, I'm not mad at them. I think it's TV, and both of their backs were against the wall. He probably trusted her telling her my conversations with them, and she either misconstrued that information or that's just a total lie because her back was against the wall. Why would I tell them to come together to rehearse reunion questions? Well, I definitely didn't say that, but I do think that it's great advice to see what the internet has to say, and then come prepared to the reunion. So, I mean, anything is possible with Jimmy, honestly. Anyways, next, and this is again also Love is Blind related. This one's a little more interesting, guys. So Madison and a woman named Cassandra Barron didn't potentially need Love is Blind to discover their compatibility. So the women who participated in the Love is Blind Season 8 revealed that living together during the pause wasn't the first time that their paths had crossed. During the interview with NPR News on March 11th, Cassandra, who's 30, said she and Madison realized that they knew each other from previously matching on a dating app. Which, this is interesting. This never came up. It would have been really, I mean, it shouldn't have to come up, honestly. You should just whatever. But it would have been really interesting to kind of see how both Mason and Alex would have taken this information. Seeing how the other idiot there didn't take the information from Brittany very well either. So, anyways, Cassandra said, "Quote: When we got off our flight to go to the pods, all the girls met up at the airport, and me and Madison recognized each other. I couldn't quite picture it where I had known her, and then she comes up to me at breakfast and she whispers, 'Do you remember we matched on Hinge like a year ago?' We were following each other on Instagram, so I knew that. I was like, I know we're following each other on Instagram, but how? But we matched on Hinge the year before. She's like, if this doesn't work out, hit me up after. Ooh. And now we're best friends, so it's great. That same day, Madison also shared the story during an appearance on Caitlin Bistro's Off the Vine podcast, saying, quote, I was just kind of nervous, like the gay panic set in. I was like, oh my God, do I say something? Do I not? I just ended up saying something. I also didn't know how comfortable she was, and so I didn't want to say anything on camera either. So I just said something, I think, the next day at breakfast. Since then, things between them have stayed platonic. Quote, she kind of had a thing. She was on and off with this one guy. And so I think when she got to the pods, she was like, oh, I miss him. So coming back, you're just always besties. So that's that. Yeah, that's news, but I hope she finds happiness because, yeah, mass is great sometimes, honestly. Anyways, next piece of hot goss, and this is also Live Spine related. So we're going to end it off on this one. So Mallory from, I can't remember what season, I'm sure this will remind me, season 2. So Mallory Zapata is engaged. So she revealed her happy news on Instagram on March 18th, sharing photos of the romantic proposal, including the moment when her fiance, R. Lemus, got down on one knee. He popped the question in Tokyo in the height of the picturesque, I'm fine, cherry blossom bloom with stunning marquee-shaped ring. Quote, Chapter 36 just started, but I'm ready to spend forever with you, she wrote in the post caption. Thank you for making this the most unforgettable birthday, full of adventures, happy tears, laughter, and lots of love. Photos show the couple embracing and sharing a kiss or two against the backdrop of the cherry blossom trees, with views of the iconic Tokyo Tower in the distance. In one shot, she offers a close-up look at her ring as she holds her fiance's hand. The couple have kept their relationship mostly under wraps, and Lemus keeps his social media private. Um, Mallory debuted their romance in July 2024 as they attended a set of music festivals together. At the time, the former reality star shared a pair of selfies of the two smiling together along with a photo of their matching shoes. During Mallory's season, if we don't remember, she got engaged to fellow contestant Sal Perez, our little, ukulele. Was it ukulele? What did he do? Ukulele? When she turned down, what was his name again? What's his name again? The one there? Jared. When she turned down Jared's proposal. Yeah, that season was great. But the two did not marry at the altar, as we know. So, but yeah, that is that piece of hot goss, and that's the end of the hot goss. So let's move into the reason we're here, and that is The Last Resort season 2, episode 18, Tell Part 1. So we start off with, what the fuck, Rob and Josh arrived together because bad boys forever. Am I right or am I right? And he's like, yeah, he had on my wife. It's fine though. We're cool now. Stacy is like, my boobs are popping out. Fix my top. Fix my top. and she's literally making him fix the top of her dress or her clothes, whatever she's wearing here. I love her. Ari is like, the guys are going to take Benny's side, but like, they need to like look at the facts. Okay, so Ari, the facts are that he didn't cheat on you. He was actually with someone when he met you, so he technically cheated on her with you. Those are the facts. Let it go. You know what I mean? Just enough. Anyways, Benny comes in looking stylish in his African colors. I loved it. And Gino and Florian talk, and he's like, Gino says, things with Jasmine changed real quick. I got some dirt. If Matt comes here, I got dirt on him too, and I'll make him cry. What the hell was this? I'm gonna make him cry. Okay, I'm gonna make him cry. Oh man, that was amazing. Okay, so then Sophie and Rob see each other, and y'all, her boobs are different, bigger. She got a boob job, and he definitely notices that the boobs are just there. Like he's trying so hard not to look at her boobs, but he's really not doing a good job of not looking at her boobs. And then she's like, um, there's something in your teeth. And she's literally picking this thing out of his teeth. And then we'll see later, but she literally says to him, do you want to see my boobs? Like literally, like let me flash my boobs to you. More on that later. Um, Benny, when they're walking out to the set, or should I say, well, he is moonwalking to the set. Benny, stop it. Okay, stop it. Michael Jackson asked you politely to stop. And I love Michael Jackson. I'm all about the moonwalk. I got it. But when you're doing it constantly, it's a little much. Anyways, so we then head out to set. And again, I'm not going through every little bit here before we get to the set, obviously. So we head to set. We got the woman on one side and the men on the other side. What in the damn? We're gonna get a quote unquote explanation. Um, but I'm gonna say this right now. I hated it. I hated this men against women shit. It was, I think, a recipe for disaster. And I think they really failed on this, honestly. But anyways, we notice Jasmine's not here. Where's Jasmine? Sean's coming out and we have no Jasmine. Then we see Jasmine in the car heading to the doll. And we hear like the guy saying, I know we are running a little bit late or a little bit behind. Like it wasn't planned. Like it wasn't planned. Don't fool me about, oh, I know we're running late. No, you know what you're doing. Don't try to fool me. I ain't stupid. I was born at night, but sure as hell wasn't last night. Okay. So, um, Jasmine mentions here that it's been a while since she's seen Gino. So we're going to start without Jasmine because we understand the assignment here. Um, so yeah. And we do hear, once we're starting with ours, we're starting the actual tell or whatever. The therapists are going to be coming out later, so we'll see how this is going to be really interesting. And they're also going to be talking about some of the things that were said during In Between the Shades as well. So it's going to be great. And then this is when they say the explanation for splitting the men and the women up. So the women and the men apparently just so gravitated towards each other during this experience that we've arranged them in that way. Do you want to know why it's been this way? Because we have the Men's Rights Now committee, Rob being the freaking president and CEO. I don't know, those are the same things. And, this is why it's that way. Anyways, so Natalie and Josh have apparently seen each other since, being at the resort, but now they don't talk. They are not friends. More on that later. Gino, how are we doing? How are things? And he's like, well, Sean, usually I come out here and I usually have good news for you. Um, good news, for example, like me and her aren't having sex. That's great news. But I don't have any good news for you this time around because, well, we're separated. And everyone collectively is like, well, that's not fucking news. Like, seriously. Actually, it's about time. Stacy feels that they are going backwards, her and Florian. More on that later. Brandon says, listen, I want to thank the therapist for helping us, but I feel like she is more focused on what she wants to achieve. Meanwhile, I'm not getting anything. And she's like, I am. And I don't regret that. I mean, there has to be this is this kind of is a little triggering because of I've been kind of dealing with some stuff with my partner that I'm like, can we just get things done, so we can move on to the next thing. Why can't you do what you need to do with your parents when there's kind of a lull in that? Go ahead and get that second opinion. I don't know, maybe I'm just asking for too much. Anyway, Ari and Benny are not filing for divorce, if ever. Um, Sean is like, well, since you guys are not getting divorced, then what's your dynamic? Split. Their dynamic is split. They are not together. They are co-parenting. That is it. But someone makes a joke, open relationship? Too soon, I think, for Jada. So Rob and Sophie have seen each other. Sophie explains that they didn't see each other for months after the recommitment ceremony. Um, but then she kind of says, well, then out of nowhere, or just, for no reason, we started having sex. Just calm, cool, and collect, just like that. We need for no reason. There are reasons for everything. Even if it's the simplest of reasons, there are reasons for everything. But I'm going to hold my thoughts until the very end. But Josh has to insert his stupid self and be like, you know, yeah, I think like the reasons like they had sex were like the same reasons that me and Natalie had sex. It was multiple times. What did, why did you, why? We weren't talking about you, sir. We were talking about Rob and Sophie. This is not as bad, but this is like, um, Adnan inserting himself as like, you don't like my marriage. You don't like sorry, Mr. Ark. You don't like my marriage. It's kind of like that. No one's talking to you, Josh. Like, what is happening? Ugh. Anyways, more on that later. So then Jasmine's here. We're kind of seeing her, getting ready, walking to the set. And then she comes out, baby bump and all. And Natalie is so shocked. She's thinking she's getting creative, but before me. And Rob is like, what the fuck? Y'all, I'm just going to say right now, Rob's reaction with Jasmine is deplorable. It is disgusting, and we're going to get into it. So just trigger warning for general misogyny. Anyways, she was like, you're pregnant. And Sean asks, like, when are you due? And Jasmine's like, well, I don't really want to share when I'm due. It's like a superstition. Only people close to the family are going to know, like, when you're due, the gender, and all of that situation. No, no. The how many weeks you are along has nothing to do with the suspicion, but everything to do with the timeline. And you don't want Gino to know the timeline of when you got pregnant. That is all this is. That is bullshit. And I would have actually had more respect for Jasmine if she just said, I don't want Gino to know. Point blank, period. Anyways. Um, and she feels, tired, constipated. And then Sean's like, oh, do you want to say hi to Gino? She's like, hi. It's very awkward. It's really awkward. And Sean's like, whew, that was chilly. Not about as chilly as it's about to become, Sean. So, Gino, are you the father? Didn't realize Maury was on the show. Damn it. And just like Maury, he was going to say, you are not the father, Gino. It's Matt's. Um, and then Sean's like, is anyone surprised by that? No. I actually would have been more surprised if it was Gino's baby. But Gino's like, I am. I'm surprised. Why? Okay, you can simply be surprised that she didn't use protection, but damn. She explains it was not a planned pregnancy. I do believe it wasn't, but at the same time, like, what happened? Don't even tell me the condom broke. That is bullshit. Don't tell me the condom broke. You guys never used it, or maybe you used it initially and then you just said forget it. Sean asks, "You wanted to have a baby with her, you know? So, like, how do you feel about like that part? That would hurt. That would hurt. Because I kind of understand how that feels. A little different than this, but I do understand how that feels. It is that would be really painful. So he says it's heartbreaking, but of course, again, Gino, I ask, do you know how babies are made? You do need to have sex in order to have a baby. I'm just saying. He's like, she told me no, and then she goes and gets pregnant. And then Florian and Rob, Sean says, like, they told you that this was a bad idea. And it's at that point, so, oh, now here we go. So Sean is basically like, okay, so like, what do you say now? And Rob says, well, it turned out how I thought it would. And he goes on to say that she wanted to be with Matt. Do I, th- do I, hmm, do I think that she wanted to be with Matt? I think I think she thinks that she didn't want to be, but you are building this sort of something with this man behind your husband's back initially. So I don't know if she necessarily wanted to be with Matt, like at least like believed it herself type of situation. Um, so I mean, to say that she wanted to be with Matt is we don't know that for sure. Anyway, Jasmine says, I could care less what you have to say. My marriage, it didn't work. And that is also like, it's not all on Jasmine. It is also Gino's fault that the reason the marriage didn't last or didn't work. Um, and she says, yours didn't last either. Again, both parties are responsible for it not working. Um, and she says, like, I take accountability for my part. And Rob says, well, mine looked better than yours. And I said, did it though? Really? Like, at least, Jasmine lived in the same house. Anywho's. Um, and she's like, do I need to explain myself to you? And then this bitch of a man literally mimics her accent like a dick and says, no, you don't need to explain yourself to me. Like, I don't want to mimic it back, but like kind of doing but he's mimicking her. There's a way to get your point across without mimicking her, because now you sound xenophobic. And it's completely unnecessary and gross, and I hate him. And she ends up calling him a clown, which spot the lie because I think she's completely telling the truth. And he calls her, and I quote, a pregnant whore. Okay. It was at this point that I'm like, get this asshole off of my screen. Listen, like I said in the thing in the last episode, do I think Jasmine made the right decisions in this situation? Absolutely freaking not. Not even close. However, to act like Jasmine has done all of the wrong and acting like Gino is holier than thou, he did nothing wrong. type of mentality is not helpful. Rob now calling her names is not helpful. And what is it to you? You have no leg in this race. And for this man to basically take the stance of, again, really and truly, it's not a joke. Men's rights now. And our voices need to be heard too. We get done wrong too. It's just not the place when talking about a marriage falling apart. No matter there's not one person in fault for the marriage falling apart. It is two people get into a marriage. Two people, in whatever way possible, are responsible for the demise of that marriage. Listen, I'm coming from a place of I was married. I went through a divorce. Although I am the one who made that decision, and a lot of the decisions was based off of, the circumstances that we were in, the circumstances that happened before he left, and all of that. And if you want to hear more on that story, you can head over to Patreon where there will be an episode on that in, I think, May. So next month, actually. So soft book. So on the history of my relationship with my ex-husband. But anywho's what that like has to that on in the bigger picture, I made the decisions based off something he did. He is at fault for his actions, but I'm also at fault for my part in the reason the relationship didn't work out, or there was infidelity and all of that. We both have um we both have fault in that because we entered into a marriage and then we exited out of the marriage, whether you wanted to or not. So it's both parties are to quote unquote blame. Anyway, um then shoes are flying, y'all. Shoes are flying. Gino also then calls her a whore. So here's my thing with Gino. Gino only seems to, maybe Rob senses this, I don't know. But Gino only seems to mimic when Rob says something. Rob says, Matt's not it. Then Gino says, Matt's not it. Rob calls her a whore. Gino then calls her a whore. And it's like, maybe you're thinking these things, which I'm not going to say you're not, but you only seem to have the guts when you have someone there who's also doing your dirty work. And that makes me have zero respect for Gino. They stand on their own 2 feet. You don't need Rob to do it for you. You want to say no to Matt, then you say no to Matt. You should have said that from before. Rob should never have told you it's a no on Matt. I think it should be a no on Matt or whatever. You should be able to do that on your own. And you don't need Rob to, be out here and telling her about herself. You can do that without Rob's help. Like that part for me is just, it's annoying because it's pathetic in my honest opinion. So then Jasmine says, I am a whore, but like you stuff your ass with butt plugs and sell them online. And I said, well, she's not wrong. She's she's spitting truth. Now, I have not seen the butt photos, but I know people have. Um, she ain't lying. That's all I have to say. And the funny thing is when she says it, he's like, what? What is? You hear that shit? What? How do you know that? Like, seriously. And when she says, and you're selling it on gay porn sites, which, whatever. I mean, know your audience, right? And he's like, just you how do you know that? Like, seriously, his face drops when he hears this. He's just like, "No, no, no, she's she's lying. I don't know." Um, and then she kind of says, like, "Say it to my face," like, basically, like, calling her, I guess, names, and he's like, "I just did." Now that was a good comeback. That's the only thing I can give him. Anyways, and then he okay, say what you want about Matt, say what you want about Jasmine, say what you want, but the minute you start talking shit about someone's child, shame on you. Shame on you. Like, he refers to her unborn child at this time, a bastard child. You are having a bastard child. Now, I take huge offense to that because I would be, quote unquote, a bastard child. There are so many people that I know who have been technically bastard children. And, you know, my children potentially, because I mean, my views on marriage is I'm not opposed to getting remarried. It's not like the first thing I have to do that I or need to do or whatever. It's kind of like it's always been in his hands when he decides he wants to ask. But I don't need it. It's not necessarily something I need to have. So potentially my children could be bastard children. Like to refer to someone as bastard children, and not only could that be triggering to Jasmine, but that can also be triggering to other people watching the show, knowing that they are quote unquote bastard children, which is like, it's such a dated terminology, I feel. I feel like it's only a way to really stick it to somebody, but it's such a dated thing to say where it's like, who isn't in this day and age? And whether you are or you aren't, like, who gives a fuck? So for this man to say this, it's just, I, I do have a statement that he posted. Now I'm recording like this section like the next day. So some things have kind of come to my attention since recording the first little bit that I'm going to read at the end. But honestly, like I feel like there's nothing this man can say. He is narcissistic, he is misogynistic, he is abusive, and he hates women. This is but as laid down as it is. This man hates women. And I'm sorry, but that's I do believe Sophie dodged a bullet. Um, yeah, because he's yeah, no. Anyways, so yeah, so this is what she says. You sell your ass on gay porn. I got the pictures. You want to see them? I got. Where's my phone? My girl has the proof of the pictures. Then we have Men's Rights Now conference at the tell all away from everybody and more name calling and referring to her child as a bastard child again and calling her a whore and all of this. And you have Gina being like, thanks, brother. Thank you, brother, for having my back. Thank you so much. Shut the fuck up. These toxic, ballless men need a freaking hobby. Okay, you literally have these toxic ass men who think I'm so tough, and it's just like you are probably dealing with small dick energy. Okay, your balls have not dropped, and you're all fucking narcissists. Honestly, God, there's really not one man in this group with the Men's Rights Now conference that isn't a narcissist. Now, Florian is funny. I don't know if I necessarily would refer to him as narcissistic. I don't know if that necessarily applies to him, but, like, I wanna say not as much just because, like, he is still being like, "Gina, like, fuck your wife." Like, he's saying it. F Like, how's it difficult? Like, you know? But Rob is a narcissist. Josh is a fucking narcissist. Gino is a narcissist. There's not one freaking person in this men's right now situation who isn't. I mean, I think Brandon there? Because I remember only seeing Benny on stage still. But I don't necessarily think Brandon is a narcissist either. Um, Benny is, but Benny in a way for him, I wouldn't even necessarily even say narcissistic. He's a selfish. But even he's like, listen, no thanks. Like, is not cool. Anyways, um, Jasmine says, everyone attacks me, but no one knows what I endured. And it's true. We really don't know when she endured. Gino isn't this precious baby who needs to be protected. He's not any of those things. He knew what he did. He's using sex to punish her, um, knowing that's kind of the only thing that he has left to do. And he knows obviously sex is important to her. So what does he do? He withholds it. Um, and yeah, because like I don't know. It's he's he sucks. Um, Ralph says, I think she got pregnant on purpose because one can just get pregnant on purpose. What? Do you not know how pregnancy works? Especially someone who's a little older who, you know, does talk, 'cause she did talk about she, struggled to get pregnant and whatever. One doesn't just get pregnant on purpose. Okay. You can, sure, purposely plan, to get pregnant, but doesn't necessarily mean that you will. And on what grounds? What grounds would she have had to get pregnant on purpose? Okay, like I'm curious. What are the grounds? Because for you to throw out an accusation like that, I want to know where you're getting that from. Because she's in an open relationship with a person for whom she was not supposed to have unprotected sex with. Don't tell me she didn't have unprotected sex. She did. So whatever. But what was? I fully believe her when she says that this baby was unplanned. Things happen, you know. Anyway, yeah. So he says, yeah, I think she got pregnant on purpose. And then he says, fuck Jasmine, fuck Matt, and fuck that baby. Honest, this isn't this is a real question I have. This isn't me being funny. Who really hurt you? That you have to talk about an unborn child in this way. Like who really hurt you? Like who did? I really want to know. Because whoever hurt you that badly needs to go up Schitt's Creek and to the left head to hell um alongside with you. Because again, even if someone hurt him this badly, it doesn't give you a right to act like this and talk like this about people. And you know, there's a special place in hell for people who go after children when they didn't, this her child did not ask for life. Life was given to her. She didn't ask for it. She had no say in that. So for you to talk ill of a child, an innocent child, for what reason, I really want to know, is there is a special place in hell for you. And I never want to see this man on my TV again. Bring Ed back. If I have to choose, I choose Ed. Because I think even Ed would not stoop to levels like this. Now, Ed will come for you. Ed will say shit about you. But I don't even think he would talk about someone's child, unborn child, in that way. I think even he has morals and standards. Who knew? I want Rob off my screen. I never want to see him again. Um, then the quote unquote men, because really, are they men? No. Go back on set and he calls her a hooker. See, Natalie, you want a hooker? There's your hooker. No, wait, it wasn't Natalie who wanted a hooker. It was Trish. Because Trish was calling her a hooker. See, if you're gonna reference old 90 Day, get it right. Anyways, Stacy is like, listen, like she's pregnant, like stop. And he's like, I don't give a fuck. You you've made that pretty fucking clear. Because then what is gonna happen is if you actually make her blood pressure rise and she goes into preeclampsia, you're not only risking you're risking someone's life. So, and then it will be on you because if I was her family or anyone else who has a leg in the race, I would be suing your ass. I would be suing your ass. So, keep it up. Keep it the fuck up. Anyways, she throws yet another shoe. So another shoe is flying. And it does hit him. But this time, this man's actually trying to destroy her shoe. You know what this gave me? And like, I'm not trying to make no, I'm trying to make a joke. I don't even care anymore. I'm not making a joke at the expense of the community or anything like that. But this vibe of trying to destroy her shoe gave me the vibe of the guy in Legally Blonde who's like, "Don't have your whatever shoes on me, honey." That's what it gave me. He's like, "Give me a lighter." How do you know a lighter's gonna work? Like, I have questions. So instead, because he can't destroy the shoe, because damn, Jasmine, he throws it instead. I feel like some intern watches him throw the shoe. They're like, shit. God damn it. Now I gotta go over there and go find her fucking shoe. I don't get paid for this shit. I get paid in Amazon gift cards. Like, what is going on? I didn't ask for this. I would be so pissed. And according to the timeline, it's January in New York, so it's cold. Ugh, I'd be so pissed. Anyways, he explains about the whole situation of the gay porn sites because he does. I have to clear that up. We have to clear that up, okay? Because I'm not gay. That's what. Whether he is or he isn't, I don't care. That's not the issue I have. I just hate him. So he says, I posted whatever it was, I guess his butt plug picture. And he says, my first 10K followers were all men. And I don't know if they're gay men or whatever the hell, but they were men. And I said, okay, I'm just gonna throw it out there though. I do not know if his pictures were posted to a gay site, but I'm just gonna throw it out there. I mean, again, straight men can stick shit up their butts. I'm not saying that. Um, you're not necessarily gay because you stick something up your butt. Okay? It's very J spot. It's fine. Um, but no fun intended. But I do think that the audience for something like that would be other gay men. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. Just because you may be selling or putting pictures up on gay sites or you potentially could be in gay porn or whatever, it doesn't necessarily mean you're gay or fully gay or whatever. Fully gay, that's the wrong thing to say. You can be queer in some way, absolutely, but you could also still be into women or maybe you're straight or whatever. Like it doesn't mean anything. So the fact that you're getting so defensive and needing to control the narrative on that, makes me have pause. Now, do I think it's great of Jasmine to, like, put that shit out there? Who cares? Honestly, because everyone knows it's out there. Long before Jasmine put it out there. I think Jasmine is trying to be like, you want to call me a whore, you want to slut shame me, you want to shame my decisions. Yet you're no different than me in different ways, but you're no different than me. I think that's the point she's trying to make here. I don't really care. Do you gotta do. So Jasmine says that there are, these men, they claim to be so strong, yet you call me a whore. 100%. Listen, I have never been called a bitch, a whore, a slut by any man that have claimed to love me, really love me, and respect me. Never. Hell, I don't even think I've really ever been called those things. Maybe bitch, but I don't think like even anything past that from men who didn't like or respect me. So that I think says a lot on you. And for you to say you're a strong man, blah blah blah, and you're talking to women the way you're talking to them, doesn't make you strong, it makes you weak. Makes you pathetic. And I totally understand what she's saying. 100%. Because I agree with her. Um, so Gina was like, Rob, thanks, dude. Really, dude. I really thank you so much. Like you're such a friend. Thank you so much. Thank you for the support, buddy. Get the hell out of here. So anyway, we're gonna keep this going. And Jasmine, please keep your shoes on. They do get her shoe back. Like I said, the poor intern had to go get it. But yeah. So anyway, we're gonna move on to Julia and Brandon and give Gino and Jasmine a break here. So we talk about, helping her with getting her family to the States and kind of how that's been going and basically it's going. And Sean is kind of like Brandon, do you have a say in what's kind of going on? And he says like I'm trying to. Um and then we kind of talk about like what about the second opinion since like that's happening. What about that? And he says, well, I feel like she's putting it off. That she's putting more of the effort into getting her family here, which I think I kind of said this already. I think she should be focusing on that as well. There's a lot involved in doing something like that. But I think like in the meantime, you can still look at your second opinion. I don't think one should cancel out the other. Or one should be on pause and one shouldn't or whatever. Then we bring on Ron and Betty for a cruise, y'all. Yeah. Maybe not a swinger cruise or what's going on here, but listen, we know shit. Anyways, we talk about the bar dancing situation and then him calling her a whore because, again, these men can't help but call people whores. And the fact that she is still kind of waiting for an apology. So we kind of, go through all that. And Sean's like, Ron, Betty, do you think Brandon should apologize? And I really do think Betty was going to say, like, I think, he should. But instead, Ron kind of comes in here and he's like, well, I think she should reconsider how she acted and, maybe she should apologize to him. He not only called her a whore, he's also said, like, you're, dancing like a slut or whatever it was. Like, so that's all okay. Like, I'm not saying, like, obviously this was an issue for him. He didn't like her doing this. I understand all of that. I'm not saying that his feelings are invalid. They are. But to kind of be like, oh, well, I think she should reconsider. And she should apologize to him. What about to each other? Rob is like, to her, which again, I fucking agree with. You can't do everything. There are limits. Which, of course, I think even if you're not married, there are limits. I would never do something that makes my partner uncomfortable. There's just certain things that should be left to, between the two of you. Um, so I do understand that, and I agree with it. But I don't think there's anything wrong with her outfit. I thought she looked great. She looked hot. And she's feeling herself. Um, the dancing normally, not on the bar is whatever. Dancing on the bar is whatever. It was the let me assume doggy position that I'm like, ooh, I don't, I don't know. Like, would I do that even if I wasn't in a relationship? Probably not. Because I think more for me, it's there are gross people out in this world who take advantage of women, and we should still be able to do whatever the fuck we want without worrying about men being stupid. But unfortunately, the world we live in, we just can't. And because men are stupid and men suck. So that is one thing. Now, when you're in a relationship, he's there. Like, what's gonna happen? Nothing's gonna happen. But I don't know. Like I said, I wouldn't have done it only because like I know like that would have most likely made my partner very uncomfortable. That's one thing. Like, dance, be provocative. I don't care. But like me, I would have done that to my partner. That's what I would have done. You know, get a little response. But of course, Julia's not having sex with Brandon, so that's at that point. So that's one thing. Anyways, so when Roth tells her that there are limits, she responds back to, "What are limits?" Oh, honey, there are limits. You're a married woman. There's always limits. And Betty's like, therein lies the problem. Josh is like, listen, she can have fun. Like, I see no problem with that. So that's clearly like one perspective. I think it also depends on who you're with, right? And I think Brandon, unfortunately for her, is a person who is pretty conservative and like, you know, and he just doesn't feel comfortable with certain things, and she should respect that. But at the same time, kind of keeping the same energy with other couples, he also knew who he was marrying. He was marrying a person who was a go-go dancer, and she was pretty proud of it. So I think like partially you're like, well, you married and you chose that. So like you can't then stifle her because it suits you. So it's two-way street here. Um so then Brandon's like, yeah, but her vagina was showing. No, it wasn't. And Sophie says, no, it wasn't. She was wearing nude colored underwear. She told me. Then Rob turns this on Sophie. And he's like, well, you think it's because you're clothed that you're not going to show a vagina? Okay. Like, I've seen your vagina. And Sophie's like, what does that have to do with me? We're talking about them. And again, here's my thing. Here's my thing. Fellas, again, I'm saying from a perspective of I wouldn't do that because I respect not only my partner, but main thing I respect myself. But at the same time, if a woman wants to show her vagina, let her. It's her vagina to show. It is on loan to you, sirs. You don't get to say, oh, well, I get to have sex with it, so you can't show that off to anybody. It's not your vagina. I can show it off to whoever, whenever. Okay? No, not gonna let the person touch it. But if I want to let a vagina lip come out, then I'm going to. If I'm gonna let a boob pop out, I'm going to. Because guess what? It's my body. You don't, it's like if you want to slip out a ball, go ahead for it. Just, as long as people know they can't have it. But if something slips out once in a while, like it is what it is. It is my body to do with what I choose. You don't get to control a narrative all of the fucking time. Anyway, so Sophie then says, like, listen, I would get it if, you know, there was men there, taking advantage of the show or whatever. But like he was there. Like again, seriously, what is gonna happen? Then Julia gets up and starts dancing on top of the table because she wants to show Betty and Ron. And I'm just like, uh, I think we all saw the video. You didn't need to then get up on a table because what are you doing? They're not in the studio. They're on the cruise. So what is the point of getting on this table and dancing for Ron and Betty? I'm confused. Like, I think any way for her to Julia is a shit deserver and it's fun for viewership. For Brandon, I can understand being like, Jesus Christ. But at the same time, like I said already, you know who he married. Anywho's, so Jasmine is like, listen, calling her a whore is a strong word. Maybe you should apologize. And he says, okay, I am sorry. I was angry. Like he makes it, it's literally, I was sorry, but listen to how it affected me. That is not apologizing. And Jasmine says as much. She's like, no, start over. That's not an apology. And then Betty, who has to protect her sweet baby boy, is just like, you know what? As his mother, because I'm your mother. As his mother, he's sorry. The fuck you say no? You can't apologize for your grown ass son who's married. No, you don't get to accept or do an apology for him. Jesus Christ. Anyways, then he does apologize. Anyways, but then we start talking about her kissing this ex-boyfriend or the ex-boyfriend and then this other guy that was brought up between the sheets. And they're like, so Julia, what did happen with that guy? Then Sean asks this question. What happened with that guy? And that's where we end this tell-all part 1. That is it for me. So yes, we will be jumping in with the second part very soon. I do want to get into 90 Day. Hopefully I can get it done before. But anyways, that is it for this episode. So if you like what you heard, please rate, review the podcast on either Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Also, don't forget that you can also share us with everyone in your life if you really love this. And I do want to read those reviews. I'm definitely getting 5-star ratings, but I want to read those reviews. So send me those reviews and I will read those 4 and 5-star reviews on the podcast. Also, we're on every one of your favorite podcast apps. Every one of them, including you can find us on YouTube at Reality Tea Times 2. If you want to connect with us, you can do so by going to either Facebook or Instagram at Reality Tea Times 2. You can also find us on Twitter, TikTok, Reddit at Reality Tea Times 2 Pod. We also have our email, which is at realityteatimes2 at hotmail.com. Definitely want to hear from you guys. And we also have our new website where you can listen to all of these episodes. You can review the podcast on there as well. You can connect with me in any way, all the stuff. It's all there, and you can find me there at www.realityteatimes2, all spelled out, .podpage.io. It's there. And don't forget, I also have my other podcast with my friend Mikkel, Next Week Podcast, where we talk about all kinds of different topics. But you can find us on any of your favorite podcast apps over there as well. Or you can also go to YouTube and you go to Next Take Podcast, as well as our website, which is solo.to/Next Take Podcast. So yeah, there's with that, and that's basically that. And again, don't forget, if all of this information is overwhelming, we do have all of the links, everything in our show notes. But that is it for now, guys. Thanks. Bye.